All right, let's revisit the potential James Harden Nets trade that we discussed earlier ourselves. And of course, Woj, has reported that Harden has the Nets atop of his list of destinations. If Brooklyn were able to assemble a superstar big three of KD, Kyrie, and Harden, that'd be pretty daunting, certainly. So, Zach, where would you have them ranked in the Eastern Conference?
If they pull that trade off, let's assume Karis LeVert goes out, Jared Allen goes out, Dinwiddie probably has to go out. They re-sign Joe Harris. They keep Taurean Prince. They get a couple of veterans to come for the minimum or the tax mid-level. I liked their Bruce Brown trade today. I think that team probably enters the season as the favorite to win the East. Maybe not the favorite to rack up the most wins, because we've seen Milwaukee is a regular season win racking up machine. But that team is scary. You can laugh at the only one ball. How are they going to do? They need to play with two basketballs, blah, blah, blah. You can laugh at that if you want. No one's going to be able to guard that team.
Yeah, because I think there's going to be some people out there who say that, hey, well, what about Allen? What about Dinwiddie? What about Karis LeVert? You could just grow with those guys, and you already have your two stars. But I think stars recognize how good stars are compared to other players, and I think that would give even more buy-in from guys like Kyrie and KD, and they recognize that they can't mess around with the regular season. They have to build what they need to build, because both those guys have been on teams that have won the championship, and they recognize that those little seeds that you put in the ground, you're going to, reap fruit from them when they grow in the postseason. And I just think they'd make it work. So if they can do it, they'd be a juggernaut if they can stay healthy. And, quite frankly, you'd be talking about them, the Clippers and the Lakers, as the favorites to win it all.
Well, and to your point, Dave, I think that first year is so important, right? And look, we've seen teams, even a team like LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, right? Like they felt like they were starting to come around, obviously, late in that season and in that postseason that first year in Miami. And then we saw what happened in Dallas. So nothing is a given. And then on the flip side of that, because they're not related, we saw a Clippers team that was also dealing with all sorts of injuries and whatnot, and guys coming off of injuries, and that was a big challenge. They never really got the chemistry that they needed. So that first year, to your point, would be unbelievably important. All right, rumors that Victor Oladipo is unhappy with the Pacers have been swirling since the bubble. It was a question whether or not he'd even play in Orlando this past summer. Last week, the Indianapolis Star reported that Oladipo was openly asking teams if he could come play for them in front of his Pacers teammates. Oladipo denied that in an interview with The Athletic, saying, quote, "I know there have been some people saying that. I have asked players to trade for me. That's just not true, period. I love my teammates. I cherish the state of Indiana, and I'm focused on leading this franchise to a title." So, Dave, what do you think of Oladipo's future in Indy?
I think it's a really tough situation. It reminds me of the Cavs in 2017, 2018 when I covered them, and they traded for Isaiah Thomas. And he was another undersized guard who used every single ounce of his athletic ability to make himself a force to be reckoned with in this game, and then had a devastating injury. And he was trying to play his own game and trying to get back to a healthy level, and recognize he has that anvil hanging over his head of, if I don't perform the way I need to, I will lose tens of millions of dollars. And it's really hard for a player to stay within a team scheme when he has that pressure on him. I think it's probably a better situation to be in if he stays in Indy, because he will have familiarity there, versus going somewhere else and trying to prove that. Because, of course, when Isaiah Thomas left Boston, it was all new and foreign to him in Cleveland. It didn't work out. He didn't even finish the season there. And so, I wish him well, because when he was right, he was an emerging star in this league. But this is just a really tough situation.
Yeah, he hasn't been the same since that injury in January 2019, and it was a traumatic injury. I mean, it was a horrible injury, and it's not surprising. And last season he comes back, plays a few games, the season stops for 4 months. You almost want to throw that season away and just say it's not relevant. But look, there's been too much smoke here for months and months and months now, both publicly now and behind the scenes, for me to believe that everything is copacetic. And the tell will be if they get to the table for extension talks, something that maybe there was some possibility of, and then the Athletic reported maybe not. Indiana can offer him a big extension, 4 years, about $113 million. I know Victor Oladipo has said, or has been reportedly saying, he wants a max. I mean, that's $113 is a lot of money. If they can't come to the table at all, if they can't get within any kind of dollar range, I think that's going to be a tell that not everything is as copacetic as they would like it to be.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.